Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins Collections, Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters. Today, we're diving into something that may seem simple at first but holds incredible value for those who know what to look for: the 1972 Lincoln 1-cent penny. It might seem like just another penny, right? But wait until you hear what makes this particular coin so special. If you've ever wondered what makes certain coins so valuable, stick around because this little penny might just surprise you with how much it's worth. Before we dive into the details of the 1972 Lincoln penny, let's take a quick look at its history and what makes the Lincoln penny one of the most iconic coins in American history. First minted in 1909, the Lincoln penny was created to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features the likeness of Lincoln on the obverse, with his profile facing to the right. The reverse originally featured two stalks of wheat, representing the nation's agricultural roots, but in 1959, it was changed to the current reverse design, a Union shield, symbolizing unity and the strength of the United States. Fast forward to 1972, and we find ourselves at a time of economic change. The United States was recovering from the effects of the Vietnam War and the political turmoil of the 1960s, and there was an increasing interest in coin collecting, which is exactly what made coins from the 1970s, especially pennies, highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's zoom in on the 1972 Lincoln penny. On the surface, this coin might not seem all that different from the others, especially considering it was minted in relatively large numbers. However, as is often the case with rare coins, it's the subtle differences that can make all the difference in terms of value. For example, did you know that there were certain minting errors in the 1972 penny that could make the coin worth a small fortune? The first thing we need to talk about is the overall composition of the 1972 Lincoln penny. This penny, like other coins minted after 1982, was made from copper-plated zinc rather than solid copper. However, it's important to note that in 1972, the composition of pennies was still 95% copper and 5% zinc. This copper content means the coin has intrinsic value, especially when you consider fluctuations in the price of copper and other precious metals. The fact that it's made from copper gives it a certain weight and feel that can be appealing to collectors. But there's so much more to this penny than just the copper content. Now, let's talk about the most exciting part: the value of the 1972 Lincoln penny. As with any collectible coin, the value of a penny depends largely on its condition. Many 1972 pennies were circulated for years, meaning they may have seen plenty of wear and tear. The condition of the coin can make all the difference when it comes to how much it is worth. The most valuable coins are those that have been well preserved, kept in pristine condition, or have been stored in a way that protects them from the elements. But here's where the 1972 Lincoln penny really gets interesting. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have unique characteristics, whether it's rare minting errors or design flaws that make them stand out from the rest. In the case of the 1972 Lincoln penny, there are a few notable errors that could make it worth much more than its face value. One of the most well-known errors from this year is the famous doubled die variety. What is a doubled die penny, you ask? Well, a doubled die occurs when the coin's die, the metal stamp used to imprint the design onto the coin, shifts slightly during the minting process. This causes the design to appear as if it's been stamped twice, creating a doubling effect on certain elements of the design. In the case of the 1972 Lincoln penny, you might notice that the lettering of Liberty, or In God We Trust, appears doubled or out of alignment. This error is rare but highly desirable, and it significantly increases the value of the coin. The more prominent the doubling effect, the more valuable the penny becomes. But that's not all. There are also a few other variations and minting errors that could add value to the 1972 Lincoln penny. For example, some 1972 pennies show signs of a repunched mint mark, where the mint mark, whether it's an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver, appears twice. This can happen when the die is not properly aligned during the minting process. A repunched mint mark can make a coin far more desirable and can increase its value significantly. Collectors also tend to pay attention to the overall luster and finish of the coin. If you happen to find a 1972 penny in proof-like condition, meaning it still has a shiny, mirror-like finish that was typical of proof coins, it will command a much higher price than a typical circulated penny. It's no surprise that a well-preserved coin is going to be more valuable, but coins with unique minting errors or pristine finishes are in especially high demand. So, just how much is the 1972 Lincoln penny worth? Well, the price can vary widely depending on the condition, rarity, and any unique characteristics the coin may have. In general, most 1972 pennies are worth just a few cents, as they were produced in large quantities. However, if you happen to come across a 1972 penny with the double die error or another rare minting flaw, you could be looking at a coin that's worth far more than just its face value. In fact, a 1972 Lincoln penny with a prominent double die error could be worth a staggering $80,000. That's right, $80,000. For something as small as a penny, that's a pretty remarkable amount of money. If you're lucky enough to have one of these rare, error-filled 1972 pennies in your collection, you might want to get it appraised or consider selling it to a collector who recognizes its value. Even without minting errors, a well-preserved 1972 Lincoln penny can fetch a decent amount on the market. But when you find one with an error, you're truly holding a piece of numismatic history. So, if you're a coin collector or just someone who enjoys going through old change, make sure to keep an eye out for the 1972 Lincoln penny. Its value could be far more than you'd ever expect. Whether you're searching through your pocket change or going through an old collection, remember, that little penny might just be worth a small fortune. Today, we're going to delve into one of the most exciting and sought-after pennies in the world of numismatics, the 1970 Lincoln 1-cent penny. Now I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny, right? But trust me, the 1970 Lincoln penny is far from just another coin in your pocket change. This particular penny has a fascinating history, and when it comes to rarity and value, it's one of those coins that can leave you absolutely stunned. Stay with me as we explore what makes the 1970 Lincoln penny so special, what it's worth, and why it could be worth much more than you think. Let's start by taking a step back in time. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of U.S. currency since it was first introduced in 1909. It was created to honor the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, and has since become one of the most iconic and recognizable coins in American history. The design, created by engraver Victor David Brenner, showcases Lincoln's profile on the obverse and a reverse design that has undergone a few changes throughout the years. Originally, the reverse depicted two stalks of wheat, but in 1959, it was replaced with the now familiar Union shield. These subtle changes over the years make the Lincoln penny a beloved and collectible coin, and there's one penny from 1970 that's even more special than the rest. The 1970 Lincoln penny holds a special place in the hearts of collectors, primarily due to some unique factors that set it apart from other pennies from the same era. First, let's talk about the composition of the coin. Like many pennies minted in the 20th century, the 1970 penny was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This combination of metals gives the coin a distinct feel and weight, and with the price of copper fluctuating over time, the metal itself gives the coin inherent value. However, it's not just the copper content that makes the 1970 Lincoln penny worth more than face value, it's the rarity and the unique features of certain 1970 pennies that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. When it comes to coin collecting, one of the most important factors that determine a coin's value is its rarity. The 1970 penny, while not produced in extremely low numbers, has a few characteristics that make it much rarer and more valuable than its regular counterparts. You see, during the 1970s, there were a number of minting variations and errors that made certain coins particularly valuable to collectors. The 1970 penny is a prime example of this phenomenon. One of the most interesting and valuable variations of the 1970 Lincoln penny is the famous 1970s double die penny. What exactly is a double die penny? A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin becomes misaligned during the minting process, resulting in a doubled impression of the coin's design. In the case of the 1970s penny, The doubling is most visible in the inscriptions on the obverse of the coin, such as the word liberty and the phrase, "In God we trust." You may notice a slight shift or ghosting of these words, which is caused by the double strike. This error is one of the most sought after and valuable variations of the 1970 penny, and if you happen to come across one, you could be holding on to a small treasure. But the value doesn't stop there. The 1970 Lincoln penny from the San Francisco Mint is notable not just for its double die varieties, but also for the overall scarcity of uncirculated specimens. Many of the 1970 pennies were circulated, meaning that most of them show signs of wear and tear. But when you find an uncirculated penny from this year, it's a whole different story. The value of an uncirculated 1970 penny, particularly one with a mint error like the double die, can be quite substantial, as collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved examples of rare coins. Another important factor in determining the value of the 1970 penny is the overall demand from collectors. Coin collecting has grown tremendously over the years, and more people are looking to invest in rare and historically significant coins. The 1970 Lincoln penny has become a favorite among collectors not just because of the minting errors but also because of its place in history. The 1970s were a time of change and transition in America, and the 1970 penny represents that period in a way that few other coins do. Now, let's talk about the condition of the 1970 penny. As with any coin, the better the condition, the more valuable it is. When it comes to the 1970 Lincoln penny, coins that are graded in excellent or near perfect condition are in particularly high demand. If you find a 1970 penny in gem uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than its face value. And if that penny happens to have one of the rare minting errors we've discussed, the price could go even higher. So, what exactly is the value of the 1970 Lincoln penny? The price can vary depending on a number of factors, including the mint mark, condition, and whether or not the coin has any minting errors. In general, most 1970 pennies without any significant minting flaws or errors are worth only a small premium over their face value. However, when you factor in the rare double die variety or other minting errors, the price can skyrocket. In fact, if you happen to have an uncirculated 1970 penny with a significant double die error, you could be looking at a value of $85,000. Yes, that's right, $85,000 for a single penny. It's amazing how much something as small as a penny can be worth, especially when it has the right combination of rarity, historical significance, and condition. Now that you know the value of the 1970 Lincoln penny, it's time to check your own collections. If you happen to have one of these coins, especially one with a minting error or in pristine condition, it could be time to get it appraised. With the growing interest in rare and valuable coins, the demand for these pennies is only going to increase as time goes on. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but trust me, it's far from it. We're talking about the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors and numismatists over the years. While most of us have tossed these pennies into a jar, maybe even without a second thought, there's a lot more to this little copper coin than meets the eye. Join me as we explore the fascinating story behind the 1980 Lincoln penny, its significance in the world of coin collecting, and why it could potentially be worth far more than just 1 cent. Let's start with some background information. The Lincoln penny, which has been a fixture in American currency since 1909, is one of the most recognized and iconic coins in the United States. Designed by engraver Victor David Brenner, the obverse side of the coin features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse initially showed 2 ears of wheat before being changed to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. By the time 1980 rolled around, the penny was well established as a symbol of American heritage, and it continued to serve as a daily part of the U.S. currency system. However, what makes the 1980 version stand out is not its design but the subtle details that make it a true collector's item. While many 1980 pennies were produced, and the majority are still in circulation today, a small number of these coins possess characteristics that make them incredibly valuable. These characteristics, including mint errors, production variances, and the overall rarity of high-quality specimens, have led to a growing demand for the 1980 penny among collectors. If you happen to stumble upon a specific variety of this coin, you could find yourself holding onto a small fortune. To understand why the 1980 Lincoln penny holds value, we first need to explore some of the different features that collectors look for when assessing a coin. The most obvious factor is the condition of the penny. Like any collectible, the better the condition, the more valuable the coin. The 1980 penny, like most coins from this era, was minted in large quantities. However, many of these coins have been heavily circulated over the years, making it rare to find one in pristine or uncirculated condition. The higher the grade a coin receives from a professional grading service, the more money it will likely fetch on the market. Coins that are well preserved, with minimal wear or marks, are highly coveted by collectors. The 1980 penny, when found in mint state, can command a premium, as it represents an almost untouched example from the era. A coin in this condition is prized because it showcases the sharp details and clear images that were present when it was originally struck at the U.S. Mint. However, the real treasure hunters are on the lookout for something even more special: minting errors. Mint errors are anomalies that occur during the production process, and they can drastically increase the value of a coin. The 1980 penny is no exception. There have been a number of errors reported for coins from this year, and these errors make the 1980 Lincoln penny much more valuable to collectors. Let's take a closer look at some of the errors that can be found on this coin. One of the most well-known errors associated with the 1980 penny is the double die error. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin becomes misaligned during the minting process, resulting in a doubled image on the coin. In the case of the 1980 penny, this error is often seen on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" on the obverse of the coin, as well as on the date itself. The doubling effect can be subtle, but it is visible to the trained eye, and coins with this error can command a premium price in the market. In fact, if you have a 1980 penny with a visible double die, it could be worth significantly more than its face value. Another type of error that has been spotted on the 1980 penny is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a coin that has part of the design missing or shifted to the side. Off-center pennies are especially interesting to collectors because they are unique. No two off-center coins are exactly alike. If you happen to come across a 1980 penny with an off-center strike, it could be a rare and valuable find. Another error to keep an eye out for is the die crack. A die crack occurs when the minting die develops a crack or flaw, which can then be transferred to the coin as it's struck. This results in a visible line or crack on the surface of the coin. Die cracks are more common on older coins, but they can also appear on coins from more recent years, including the 1980 penny. If you find a 1980 penny with a die crack, especially if it's particularly large or distinctive, it could add to the coin's value. Now that we've covered some of the more common minting errors that can make the 1980 penny valuable, let's turn our attention to the rarity factor. The 1980 penny wasn't minted in extraordinarily low numbers, but that doesn't mean there aren't rare versions of the coin. Over time, many of the pennies produced in 1980 have been damaged, lost, or circulated extensively. As a result, finding a well-preserved, high-quality 1980 penny, especially one with a minting error, can be a rare occurrence. The fewer of these coins that exist in great condition, the higher the demand for them becomes. Collectors know that acquiring a rare, high-quality 1980 penny with a mint error could be a fantastic investment that pays off in the future. So, what does all of this mean when it comes to the value of the 1980 Lincoln penny? While most 1980 pennies are worth only their face value, just 1 cent, those with minting errors or in exceptional condition can be worth much more. In fact, if you happen to own one of these rare specimens, it could fetch a significant sum at auction or through private sales. For example, if you come across a 1980 penny in uncirculated condition with a double die error, you could be looking at a coin worth a lot more than just a few dollars. The value of a 1980 Lincoln penny with the right characteristics can vary widely, depending on the specific error and its overall condition. Coins that are free of damage and show little to no signs of wear are the most desirable, and prices for these coins can climb into the thousands. But it doesn't stop there. If your 1980 penny is particularly rare or has a significant error, it could potentially be worth as much as $77,000. That's right, $77,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that such a small coin could hold such a big value, but when you factor in rarity, mint errors, and collector demand, it all starts to make sense. If you've been holding on to a collection of pennies, now might be the time to take a closer look at what you have. Who knows, you could be sitting on a treasure. Today, we're going to dive deep into the world of one of the most fascinating and widely collected coins in American history, the 1993 Lincoln 1-cent penny. This seemingly ordinary coin, which many of us may have overlooked, is actually a hidden gem in the world of numismatics. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting your journey into the world of rare coins, this penny might just surprise you with its value. When you think about pennies, you probably imagine the small, copper-colored coins that we all see daily. The Lincoln penny, in particular, has been a staple of U.S. currency since it was first issued in 1909. Over the years, this coin has undergone several design changes, but the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side has remained a constant. For over a century, this simple, yet iconic, coin has been circulating across the United States. But what makes the 1993 version of the Lincoln penny so special, and why is it worth so much more than its face value? Let's first talk a bit about the history of the penny. The Lincoln penny was initially introduced to honor the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, and has become one of the most widely collected and recognized coins in the world. Since its debut in 1909, the penny has gone through several redesigns, with the most notable change occurring in 1959 when the reverse side was altered to feature the Lincoln Memorial. This change marked a shift from the original, wheat ears, design and added to the historical significance of the coin. Fast forward to 1993, and the Lincoln penny is still an important part of everyday life. It was during this period that the U.S. Mint was making adjustments to its minting processes to account for the increasing costs of producing copper and other metals. The 1993 penny was made primarily of copper-plated zinc, and it's worth noting that while the design was largely unchanged from the previous decades, the quality of the coin production had improved significantly. But what makes the 1993 Lincoln penny truly fascinating isn't just its design or material, it's the potential for rarity, errors, and high-quality specimens that make this particular coin stand out. Now, let's get into the details that make this coin valuable to collectors. The first factor to consider is the condition of the coin. As with most collectibles, the condition of a coin plays a huge role in determining its value. The 1993 penny, like many coins from this era, was produced in large numbers, which means that there are plenty of them out there. However, most of these pennies have been in circulation for years, and many show signs of wear and tear. Finding a 1993 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is rare, and when you do find one, it can be worth significantly more than its face value. Coins that have been well preserved, free from scratches, nicks, and discoloration, are highly sought after by collectors. The better the condition of the coin, the higher the price it can fetch. A 1993 Lincoln penny in uncirculated condition is already worth more than the average penny. But the real prize comes when you find one that has been kept in exceptional shape. Coins in mint condition can easily command a premium price, and a flawless 1993 penny could be worth hundreds of dollars to the right buyer. But condition isn't the only factor that can increase the value of a 1993 penny. Minting errors also play a significant role in determining the worth of a coin. Over the years, the U.S. Mint has produced thousands of coins with various types of errors, ranging from minor design flaws to more significant misprints that make a coin unique. These minting errors are highly coveted by collectors because they represent rare anomalies in the production process. In the case of the 1993 penny, there are a few errors that have been known to occur. One of the most notable errors is the double die variety. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin becomes misaligned, causing the design to appear doubled or distorted. This error is usually visible in the lettering, such as the words, Liberty, or In God We Trust, or even on the date itself. If you happen to come across a 1993 penny with a double die error, you could be looking at a valuable find. Coins with doubled dies are highly sought after by collectors because they are relatively rare and make for unique additions to any collection. Another error that can make a 1993 penny valuable is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to the side. Off-center pennies are intriguing because no two are alike. The amount of misalignment varies, and some off-center pennies are more extreme than others. If you find a 1993 penny with an off-center strike, it could be worth more than just its face value, especially if the misalignment is significant. Additionally, there's the possibility of die cracks on the 1993 penny. A die crack occurs when the minting die cracks or develops a flaw, leaving a visible line or crack on the coin's surface. While die cracks are more common in older coins, they can still occur in newer coins like the 1993 penny. A large, prominent die crack can make a coin more interesting to collectors, especially if it's located in a visible part of the design, such as Lincoln's portrait or the lettering. It's also worth mentioning that the scarcity of certain varieties of the 1993 penny can greatly influence its value. Although the 1993 penny was minted in relatively large quantities, some varieties are much harder to find than others. For example, there may be specific mint marks, die varieties, or production discrepancies that make certain 1993 pennies much rarer than others. Coins that are produced in limited numbers or with unique characteristics often attract more attention from collectors, which can drive up their price. So, what's the bottom line when it comes to the 1993 Lincoln penny? Well, most of the pennies from this year are still worth only 1 cent, especially if they're heavily circulated or show signs of wear. However, if you're lucky enough to have a 1993 penny in mint condition, or if you come across a coin with a rare minting error, it could be worth a significant amount of money. In fact, a 1993 Lincoln penny with the right characteristics could be worth as much as $85,000. Yes, you read that right, $85,000 for a single penny. It may seem hard to believe, but in the world of coin collecting, rare and unique coins can fetch unbelievable prices, especially when they are in exceptional condition or possess significant errors. So, next time you're sorting through your change, remember to take a closer look at your pennies, because you never know when you might stumble upon one that could be worth a small fortune. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of a coin that may have slipped under the radar for many but is packed with historical significance and potential value: the 1968 Lincoln 1-cent penny. For those of you who are passionate about numismatics, this penny could turn out to be an unexpected treasure hiding in plain sight. From its role in the larger story of U.S. currency to the rare and valuable finds within certain 1968 pennies, this video will reveal why this coin is much more than its face value. The Lincoln penny, which was first introduced in 1909, has long been a part of the fabric of American coinage. For more than a century, this little 1-cent piece has been circulating through the hands of everyday people, and yet, it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. The coin's design, featuring a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, has remained iconic and instantly recognizable. However, over the years, subtle changes in design, material, and minting process have led to significant differences in the value of certain pennies, especially those from specific years. The 1968 Lincoln penny is a prime example of a coin that's more than meets the eye. At first glance, it may appear to be just another copper-colored penny, circulating as a standard 1-cent piece. But a closer look can reveal the potential for a valuable find, especially when it comes to those rare variants or higher-grade coins that have been carefully preserved. Let's take a deeper dive into why the 1968 Lincoln penny is worth paying attention to. In 1968, the United States Mint produced a huge number of pennies to keep up with the increasing demand for low-denomination currency. This was also a pivotal time in American history, as the U.S. was experiencing significant economic changes. The 1960s saw major events such as the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement, and shifts in the American economy. This coin represents a period of transition for the country, and like many coins minted during that era, it carries the weight of historical significance. The penny itself was unchanged in design, still featuring Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse. However, the U.S. Mint made a major change in the materials used to strike the coin. In 1962, the U.S. Mint began experimenting with the composition of its pennies due to the rising cost of copper. Up until this point, the Lincoln penny had been made from 95% copper and 5% zinc. However, in the 1960s, the price of copper rose dramatically, which led the mint to reduce the copper content of the penny. By 1968, the composition of the Lincoln penny was changed to 95% copper with the remaining 5% made up of zinc. This new formula made it more cost-effective for the mint to produce the coins while also being more durable than the previous copper-alloy pennies. But it's not just the changes in material that make the 1968 penny interesting. This particular year is important for a variety of reasons, one of which is the high number of pennies minted, resulting in a larger supply. However, most of these coins have been used, circulated, and worn down over the years. Finding a 1968 penny in excellent condition is a rarity, and that's where the real value lies. One of the key factors that determine the value of any coin is its condition. The 1968 penny, while not rare in terms of sheer production numbers, can be a real find if it's in exceptional shape. Coins that are kept in pristine, uncirculated condition are far more valuable than those that have been worn down by time. The better the coin's condition, the more valuable it becomes. For collectors, finding a 1968 penny with no scratches, dings, or signs of wear can be like discovering a diamond in the rough. These uncirculated pennies are highly sought after, and they can command a significantly higher price than their face value. In addition to the condition of the coin, there's another element that can greatly increase the value of the 1968 penny: minting errors. Errors are a fascinating aspect of coin collecting, as they result in unique, one-of-a-kind pieces that can be worth a small fortune. The U.S. Mint has made mistakes over the years, leading to coins with unusual characteristics, and the 1968 penny is no exception. One of the most notable types of errors on the 1968 penny is the double die. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the design to appear doubled or more pronounced in certain areas. On the 1968 penny, this error is typically visible in the inscriptions, such as the words, "Liberty," or "In God We Trust," or even on the date itself. If you find a 1968 penny with a double die error, it could be worth considerably more than its standard value. Double-die pennies are highly sought after by collectors because of their rarity, and they often fetch a premium price at auctions or coin shops. Another error that can make a 1968 penny valuable is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to one side of the coin. Off-center strikes create visually interesting coins, and they are particularly attractive to collectors who specialize in error coins. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become. For instance, a 1968 penny with a major off-center strike might be worth hundreds of dollars, depending on its rarity and appeal. Die cracks are another type of minting error that can make a 1968 penny more valuable. A die crack occurs when the minting die cracks or wears out, leaving a visible crack or line on the coin. While die cracks are not always as dramatic as other errors, they can still make a coin more collectible, especially if the crack is large or prominent. A well-known die crack on a 1968 penny can boost its appeal to collectors, and the coin might fetch a higher price because of its unique flaw. Now, let's discuss the potential market value of a well-preserved 1968 penny. As mentioned earlier, most 1968 pennies are relatively common and are worth only their face value, 1 cent. However, the rarer, well-preserved versions, particularly those with minting errors, can fetch much higher prices. A 1968 penny in uncirculated condition with no visible wear and tear might be worth several dollars to a collector. But if you're lucky enough to find a 1968 penny with a double die error, off-center strike, or significant die crack, you could be sitting on a small fortune. The true value of a rare 1968 penny can reach up to $85,000 if it's in exceptional condition or has a major error. Yes, you read that correctly, $85,000 for a single penny. It's amazing how something as small as a penny can hold so much value, especially when it has a rare characteristic or is in mint condition. Whether it's the story behind the coin, its connection to American history, or its potential to be a highly prized collector's item, the 1968 Lincoln penny is a coin worth paying attention to. If you're a collector, make sure to carefully check your pennies for any potential rarities. The 1968 Lincoln penny might just be hiding in your collection, waiting to surprise you with its value. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more coin discoveries. Happy hunting, and good luck with your collection!